Okay, so this is lesson 1. This is page M2-81. It's called US Shirts. So we're going to use tables, graphs, and equations. And you can read the goals right here. We're going to construct a table of X, Y, use different representations, analyze characteristics. In another video, we'll actually compare. Alright, so here we go. I turned the page. So now I am going to look at this problem that is right here. And if you look at that problem, you will see that it's talking about shirts. So if we want to talk about shirts, sorry, you can hear me moving around because I needed to get to my pens and my stuff was on top of it. But so the past summer you were hired to work at a custom t-shirt shop. US Shirts, so the US Shirts is the name of the company. One of your responsibilities is to calculate the total cost of a customer's order. The shop charges $8 per shirt, so here's some important information, plus a one-time charge of $15 to set up the design. So it's $15 to create the design, so $15 to create design, and then $8 a shirt. Or per shirt. I should say per shirt. Okay, so let's look over here. So what is the total cost of an order for 3 shirts? So if I want to order 3 shirts and I have to pay this, so if I am trying to figure out how much somebody would pay if they bought 3 shirts. So let's think about this over here. So we know it's $15. Plus, we have to pay $8 per shirt, and there are 3 shirts. So you could write 8 times 8. 8 plus 8 plus 8. So you could do it that way. You could say there's $8 for a shirt, $8 for a shirt, or $8 for a shirt. Or you could do 8 times 3. Well, 8 times 3 is 24. And you can use a calculator if you need to. Plus the $15 to set up the fee. So let's do that. So let's do 15 plus 24. So you know that it's $39 for that shirt. Or for if you buy 3 shirts. Okay, what about 10 shirts? I'm going to switch colors so we can see it. So if we're going to buy 10 shirts, what do we have to pay every single time? There's no way around it. If somebody came in and just bought 1 shirt, they still have to pay $15 for me to create the design, or for our company to create the design, and then it's $8 per shirt. So we know we have to pay the they're going to have to pay the $15, plus we know it's $8 per shirt, so you would do 8 times 10. Because there are 10 shirts. This one, you really wouldn't want to write 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, that's only 4, plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. You wouldn't want to have to write that out every single time. Especially, look at this next one we're going to do, 100. You don't want to write that out. So it's easier if you remember that when it's $8 per shirt and we have 10 shirts, you would just multiply. So 8 times 10 is 80 plus 15. You could do that by hand if you want, or use a calculator. 15 plus 80, 15 plus 80 is 95. So it's $95 for 10 shirts, $39 for 3 shirts. Let's do the next one. Okay, we know we have to pay that $15 setup fee, and then it's 8 times 100 in this case, because there are 100 shirts. So 8 times 100 is 800, plus 15 would be $815. Man, that's a lot of money. Hopefully you really, really like the shirt, right? So how did we calculate it? So we added the fee, and then multiplied 8 by number of shirts. So remember, that's not a hashtag, that's actually the number symbol. Okay, how many shirts can a customer buy if they have $50 to spend? So if like say a school or the soccer team came in and they said, we have $50 that we can spend, how many shirts can we get? Well, let's think about that for a second. What do they have to pay no matter what? For each one of these, what do they have to pay no matter how much money they have to spend? Well, they have that fee. Remember this fee for designing? So let's take $15 off of each one because we have to take off the fee. So we would do 50 minus 15, so $35. So they only have $35 left to spend on shirts. 60 minus 15 is 45, and 220 minus 15 is 205. So really, that's how much they have left to spend on shirts. Once you take out this fee, so it's $15 fee. I guess it wasn't a fee, but it was a design fee. But I just like using the word fee because I think it's a funny word. But now we have $35 left. So if we have $35 left and it's $8 a shirt, well, if we were multiplying 8 times the number of shirts up here, you would actually have to divide by 8. How many times does 8 go into 35? Well, let's see. So 35 divided by 8 equals 4.3. Do you think that I can buy because it asks how many shirts. Can I buy 4.3 shirts? No, so really I can only buy 4 shirts. Okay, let's do the 45. So again, 45 divided by the cost per shirt, 45 divided by 8 is 5.6. Can I buy 5.6 shirts? No. Yes, it's really close to buying 6, but do you think they're going to be like, oh yeah, you're a few dollars short, so we'll let you go ahead and buy the 6? No, they want to make their money, so they're going to only let you buy 5 shirts. You can't buy part of a shirt, and they're not going to just let you buy the 6th shirt with not enough money. Okay, let's look at the next one. 205 divided by 8. I forgot to write what we were doing. Divide by 8 gives us 25.6. Well, we still can't buy we can't buy a part of a shirt. Okay, so then it asks what we did. So this time we subtracted the fee. And then we divided by the $8. Okay, so let's go to the next side. All right, so what was changing? We had the total cost, and we had number of shirts. Okay. It says variables, quantities. So remember, variable is something that changes. So something that's changing, and the two things that changed were our total. Our total could change, and the number of shirts we could buy changed. So let's do, hopefully you watched the previous video talking about independent and dependent. So if we have total cost, let's call it whatever letter you want. So I'm going to call it T. And the number of shirts, I'm going to call N for number. So then it says identify the independent and dependent. Remember, the easiest one for me to remember is the dependent, or find is the dependent. So is it the number of shirts depends on the cost, or the cost depends on the number of shirts? Well, it would definitely be the cost depends on number of shirts. So the independent is in up from up here, and the dependent is the T. Okay? Alright, now let's go down here. So, if we look at our table, notice it has 1, 2, 3, 10, and 25. So, if I have a certain number of shirts, remember what we were doing right over here. We did 15 plus the 8 times the number of shirts. So we did 15 plus, how many shirts did I order? Well, 1, so we're going to do 8 times 1. So hopefully you noticed I did extend this over, and then this is called our process column. I like being able to put all of the work in a nice laid out, and I want everything laid out very nice and pretty. So then it would be $15, 8 times 2. So what is 15? So 15 plus 8 times 1. So if I only bought one shirt, I have to pay the $8 for the shirt, and then I have to pay the $15 design fee. So what is 15 plus 8 is 23. Then we have 15 plus 8 times 2. So 8 times 2 is 16 plus 15 is 31. And let's keep going. 15 plus 8 times 3. So let's do 8 times 3 is 24, plus $15 is 39. Okay, let's do the next one. 15 plus 8. Oh, this one jumped to 10. Pay attention to that. It's not 4. So then we would do 8 times 10 is 80, plus 15 is 95. We actually did that one on the last page. And then 15 plus 8 times 25. So 15 plus 8 times 25. I hit enter twice. 8 times 25 plus 15 is 215. Now on this next one, I want you to pick random numbers. It can be any number you want. It could be 1,000, it could be 75, it could be your favorite number, or even your birthday. Pick 2 random numbers and do the same step here. So go ahead and pause the video and do what I just explained. And I'm going to get this next thing set up. Sorry, I forgot to put my little protective sheet on the next page for the graph, so hopefully that's not too loud. Okay, so then we're going to take those points from that table and we're going to create a graph. Okay, so here we go. So we have already said what the independent is. Remember, dry mix. The dependent is going to go on the y-axis, independent goes on the x. So independent, we need number of shirts. That's going to be, so the N, and then T is total cost, and it goes on the y-axis. So that's why we had to cover that stuff before we did this lesson. Okay, so number of shirts. Notice down here on our table, we went all the way up to 25. Oops, my stuff is falling off my desk. I'm running out of room. And notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 lines. So we can't actually just go by ones. So let's go by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and I'm running out of room. Okay, now total cost gets all the way up to $215. So let's see if we go by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 110, 120, 130, 140. Nope. So we need to go by 20s probably. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, 260, 280. Okay, and so let's go ahead and graph those. So I'm going to use a different color. So I'm going to take the 1, and put it at 23. So we have one shirt, which would be like right here, and put it at 23. Well, that would just be barely above that. Then we have 2 shirts is $31, so that's just a little bit further up. 3 shirts is 39, so that's right below. 10 shirts, so all the way over to here to 10 is all the way up to 95, so just below 100. And then 25 shirts, which is all the way over here, would go all the way up to 215. So 220, I'm going to have to get myself up there. 215. So it'd be like right there, and you can erase those lines. That was just to help me get there because I couldn't follow the lines very easily. So that would be that next point. Okay, now this next step, I know this video is getting long and I apologize, but there's just quite a bit to cover in this video. So this next one is write the algebraic equation. So if you think back to when we've been writing equations, we have slope, or y equals mx plus b. This is what we started with, starting value or y-intercept. The m is the slope or rate. So if you think back to when we were doing this problem over here, what was, even with 0 shirts, so if I have 0 shirts, how much was my cost? So if I just had them design a shirt and then I ended up not buying the shirt or create the design, I have to pay $15 even if I buy 0 shirts. So $15 is our starting value. You can also see right here, that's the amount that we added each time. So 15 never changed. The 8 is how much it was per shirt. If you notice, how much does it change from 23 to 31? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. That changes by 8. That changes by 8. So the 8 would be our rate. So the 8 is our rate, because that's how much it was per shirt. Per shirt. And then the 15 is that fee. So the 15 is actually the starting, that's what the starting cost is. Even if you buy 0 shirts, it's $15. The X, remember we said X was the N for number of shirts. So you would say N, because it was $8 per shirt. So it's $8 times the number of shirts plus 15. If you look at our equation, that's the same thing. 15 was our starting value. There was always a 15 there. There was always an 8. Notice, where did these 1, 2, 3, 10, and 25 come from? Well, they came from the N, number of shirts. So that's why we multiplied by N. Notice I just wrote it in a different order. We still multiplied by 8, and then we added 15. Equals the T, which is the total cost. So this equation for this problem would give us all of these numbers. So notice it was 8 times 2 was 16 plus 15 gave us the 31. So that's the equation. You could also use the graph and find your slope going up and over, and then you could see that this would actually start at 15.